Hey friends, I am so excited to tackle the question today, how do I build confidence? Where do we even start? And is there a game plan that actually works? The answer is absolutely yes. Confidence is possible. Through Christ, we can live a victorious life. We can have peace in our mind, and we can have motivation that is pure in our hearts. We can overcome things like the fear of failure, the fear of what people think, performance anxiety, insecurity, discouragement, comparison traps. We can overcome the battles of identity and be mentally tough in the face of adversity. We, through Christ, have what it takes with the Spirit of God dwelling inside of us to live a confident, victorious life. But where do we even start? And is there a game plan that actually works? Today, I want to dive into this. We talk about this all over the country with lots of different people. So whether you're an athlete, whether you're a businessman or a businesswoman, someone that's a school teacher or somebody that's a ministry leader, whether you're just a man or a woman chasing after Jesus and you want to live victoriously for your family and for your community, championing the gospel forward, wherever it is that you're coming, this will be very applicable to all of us. And to me, this is something I'm fighting for daily. I am in this fight with all of you friends, and we want to live a victorious life because when the church is strong, the gospel goes forth in power. So we can and we're going to live a confident, victorious life by the grace of Jesus. So let's start this conversation. I can't wait to dive in. We're going to start with this simple statement: confidence is possible. Without question, unequivocally true, confidence is possible. And I say this because for me, for many years, I started to believe that it wasn't. I started to think that there is no way that I'm going to find freedom from fear and anxiety. I was playing hockey at some of the highest levels, and I was battling with the fear of failure to the point of having minor panic attacks on the ice. I had such a struggle with fearing what other people thought about me that I would sometimes just freeze literally on the ice, would lose the puck and would have to start skating back to go back check. I didn't know how to lead my emotions. I had so many negative thoughts at different times and would get triggered in my emotions and wouldn't know how to control them. There were times when I would just be so filled with anger and frustration and stress that I couldn't go to sleep for many hours. I would compare myself to others. I didn't know how to navigate this internal world of struggle. My identity was completely wrapped up in my stat line as an athlete, and I started to believe that confidence was not possible, that's an idea out there that we're all striving for, but for me, I'm just an insecure guy that's going to fight this the rest of my life. And so maybe you're in a similar place. Maybe for you, you've had some major struggles with confidence and you're starting to believe, like me, that confidence is not possible. I want to encourage you, friend, that through Christ, confidence is possible. Nobody is stuck. Nobody. So no matter what you're going through, freedom is possible, but we have to learn to fight the right way. And so I want to dive into 3 specific foundational elements that for me started to produce confidence in my life, so that when confidence began to build, it started to become one of the biggest strengths actually in my pro career, which is a total miracle of God. And so with that perspective, here's the strategy: that we must get intimately connected to Jesus. Number 1, hands down, most important. Second is we need to own our identity in Christ. And third, we need to live inside out. Over the next couple videos, we're going to break these down. But today, we're going to talk all about this one of being intimately connected to Jesus. And the verse that we're going to hone in on as to why this is so vital is in John chapter 15, verses 4 and 5. And here's what Jesus said. It's the night before he is crucified on the cross. It's one of the last messages he gives to his disciples. And he says this. He says, "Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. Now, what in the world does this have to do with building confidence as an athlete, or building confidence to speak publicly, or building confidence in our community? What does this have to do? It has everything to do with it, because what we see is that Jesus Christ is the power source of strength. He is the vine. We are the branches. And what many of us do, what I have done for many, many years, trying to build confidence in my own life, was I was a branch that was trying to muscle and willpower fruit in my life. I was trying harder to be more loving, more patient, to be more self-controlled, because I knew I needed that. I was trying harder to be peaceful and joyful and not be worried, to not let fear take over. And my response to this confidence battle was to muscle and willpower these fruits in my life. I was trying to do positive affirmation statements. I was trying to reframe my perspective. I was trying to take captive my thoughts, and with muscle and willpower and grit, I didn't have the strength, because I was a guy, like a branch, trying to muscle and willpower fruit. I mean, just imagine you're walking through a garden and you see a branch of an apple tree on the ground, and you see that branch just trying to muscle fruit, just trying to produce an apple. You would look at that branch and you say, you're crazy. What are you doing? You got to get connected to the trunk. It's the trunk of the tree that's going to help produce the fruit. And this is what Jesus is saying. He's saying, abide in me. And notice he doesn't say abide near me. He doesn't say abide around me. He says abide in me. I am the vine. You are the branches. And it's the vine that produces the supernatural fruit. Well, what is that fruit he speaks of? One of the ways we can understand it is in Galatians chapter 5. We see that the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. We see these fruits of the Spirit that really represent who he is. Notice it's the fruit of the Spirit. And so as we abide in Christ, he produces the fruit of the Spirit in us. And so he produces joy in the craziest of circumstances. He produces peace that doesn't depend on us doing well in the world's eyes. It doesn't depend on what other people think of us. There is a peace that he gives that is supernatural. He produces self-control to where our fleshly lusts are put to death and we are strengthened to live victoriously over sin. It is his power producing fruit in and through our life. And as men and women of God who are fighting to be confident, we absolutely need his power, his might, his strength. We will never win in our own power, in our own strength. So the beginning spot of building confidence is that we have to get intimately connected to Jesus. He is the vine, and he is the one who produces supernatural fruit. So making it practical on a daily basis, if you want to live a victorious life, the first non-negotiable of the day is you have to get your heart intimately connected to the Lord. And so start your day digging into the Bible, spending time talking to God, and don't just read the Bible academically, but bring your heart to the God of the Bible, to the one who spoke the very words you're reading. Bring your heart in connection to him. Bring to him the different things that you're thinking through, the anxieties and stresses and concerns that you might have going on inside. And as you're getting your heart connected and you're dealing with some of the hindrances that you might have between you and the Lord, it could be an area you're struggling to trust God in. Or maybe it's an area of idolatry that you're clinging to something in your heart. Or maybe there's some unconfessed sin. It could be anger in your life, or unforgiveness, or pride. And as you're bringing these things to the Lord and you're soaking in his word, you're bringing to him your heart, you're connecting with the Lord, what you're doing is you're getting connected to the vine so that there is no hindrance, that there's no interference, that his power begins to move in and through your life, and you begin to produce his fruits as a conduit of him and his love through you unto others. And so this is what we do every day. We position ourselves by getting our heart connected to Christ. It's a non-negotiable. And that can look different for different people, but if you are in pursuit You may read the Bible, you may worship, you may pray, you may journal, you may look different on different days, but that's an intentional effort to get your heart connected to Christ. As you do, you start to get connected to the one who can produce confidence in your life. This is the non-negotiable starting spot, and this is the first action item. You might be even in the middle of a game or in a sales meeting or in a new group of people, and you feel those feelings of anxiety or insecurity that come. It's even in those moments where we have to go vertical. And our first step is getting intimately connected to Christ. I'll never forget being in San Jose, California, getting sent down from the American League down to the East Coast League, which was the AAA level down to the AA. And it was a really, really unexpected, hurtful transition for me. And in this moment, how did I stay confident? My first step, looking back, I'm so thankful. My first step was to go vertical, to bring all of the emotion to the Lord, to get my journal out and to start seeking God and bringing all of that inner toxicity to the Lord. And as I did that, my next step is what we're going to talk about in the next video, which was to own my identity in Christ, which is a vital step, because as we get that toxicity out, that emotion and other sin and hindrances out, we then got to get God's promises in. And this starts to strengthen us to stand in the truth that Jesus says in John chapter 8 will set us free. So friends, if you're fighting for confidence, our first step is to get intimately connected to Jesus. After that, we're going to own our identity in Christ. And then finally, we're going to live inside out. This is a proven foundation to building this muscle of confidence. And I can't wait to see how God begins to encourage and strengthen you as you begin to apply these principles onto your life. So we'll see you in the next video. We're going to talk all about owning our identity in Christ. And we're going to keep building this muscle of confidence. I can't wait to see what God does. Here we go.